I gotta tell you, I am so tired of the overcomplication, contradictory information about what it takes to lose weight. And if I'm tired about it, I can't even imagine how you feel. One person says don't eat meat, the other says only eat meat. One says you should eat low carb, the other one says low fat. One says you have to intermittent fast, the other one says eat small meals all day long. It's just too much, it's overwhelming, and one thing you really need to understand about us fitness professionals is we always have something to sell you. Oh yeah, what a surprise, this influencer says, I know exactly why you can't lose weight, and I just happen to have a book or a supplement you can take that's gonna fix all your problems. So today I wanna help simplify things. I'm gonna talk about the 10 only things you need to worry about when it comes to weight loss. And do make sure you stick around to the end of the video because the 10th and final one is far and away the most important thing if you wanna get where you wanna be. Now, the first thing that matters, you need to move your body. In between about 3 to 5 days per week of some form of exercise. I personally think it should be some sort of combination of strength training and cardio. If you're a regular to this channel, you know I talk about the benefits of strength training all the time. It's the best thing you can do for body composition, metabolism, aging gracefully, pretty much everything. But whatever's gonna get you excited to keep you moving, that's fine. No matter what you do, any form of exercise is gonna have massive benefits to not only your weight loss goals, but your overall health. Number 2 is similar, but it's moving your body through non-exercise because what you do on a day-by-day basis makes a much bigger difference than most people think. And it's just so easy to be sedentary right now. Stay-at-home jobs, everything gets delivered via Amazon or grocery deliveries. Even modes of transportation that used to keep you active, like bikes and scooters and skateboards, those have all become electrical, and now you don't even have to do anything to make those move. It's just we don't move anymore. So certainly going for walks can be really helpful, and there's data to support that for every increase of about 1,000 steps per day on average, there's about a 10% decrease in all-cause mortality. But it doesn't have to be through specific walking. I remember back when my son was born, this was 16 years ago, and it's actually when I started my health journey. I was going to visit my wife, she was in the hospital for a while, and there was a sign on the stairs that said, take steps to better health. And I don't know why that really clicked with me. So instead of taking the elevator, I took the stairs up about 3 or 4 flights, and I've just been doing that ever since now. Just trying to keep myself moving when there's more convenience not to. People are extremely inactive, and I think it's one of the biggest reasons for the obesity crisis. The third thing, let's get into the nutrition side of things. Make sure you're fueling the body well, eating nutrient-dense whole foods. These foods that you find on the perimeter of the grocery store, if you don't eat them soon after you buy them, they're gonna go bad. Don't get caught up in this low-carb, low-fat game. It's pointless. There's been plenty of research that shows it doesn't really matter as long as you equate for calories and especially protein. So opt for these nutrient-dense foods. Get your fruits and vegetables in. Eat your leaner sources of protein. These will fuel the body up well, and they'll help you feel full. But on the flip side of that, number 4, if you want to lose weight and keep it off long-term, your diet has to be sustainable, and food is a big part of our life. So I am not saying you can't go out and enjoy the foods that you like in moderation. I promise you, there's no foods that just turn into body fat instantly. It's about the context of your overall diet. And the more you ban everything you love and say you can't have it, the more you're gonna crave it, the more likely you are to end up binging on it when you do eventually have it because you feel like, crap, I screwed everything up. My diet starts again tomorrow, so I need to get it all in now. No, you wanna create a healthy relationship with food. Yes, food is fuel, but it's also celebrations, anniversaries, holidays, get-togethers. It's a big part of our lives. 99% of people aren't gonna just go the rest of their lives without having anything fun. And honestly, I've been down that path. I got in pretty good shape back in like 2011, 2012, but then by 2014, I gained tons of weight because I just snapped and couldn't take it anymore. This is why around 95% of people can never sustain their weight loss because they diet in ways that are unsustainable. Now, a tough one is number 5. I'm not saying you can't have alcohol. I tend to have a few drinks on the weekend. I enjoy it as much as the next guy. And as long as it's in moderation and you're accounting for it, it's fine. However, there's a lot of negative health impacts. And honestly, your body treats it like a poison. When you consume alcohol, your body's gonna shut down the other metabolic processes, and that's not gonna worry about your carbs and your fat and your protein. It's gonna worry about one thing. We gotta get this poison out of our bodies. And not only that, yes, of course, it's empty calories. It lowers your inhibitions. You're more likely to go way off your plan and end up eating a lot more calories. It can interrupt your sleep. So yes, you can have alcohol, just do so in moderation. Now, number 6 is the last part about nutrition, and everything else I've been talking about is about long-term solutions. This one can be more short-term, but I do think it's a really important thing, and that is tracking your intake. And the reason I say it's not necessarily long-term is because not a lot of people are going to track everything they eat for the rest of your life. For some people, they don't mind it. I've been doing it now for over a decade. It doesn't bother me. However, even if you want to be able to eat intuitively, if you never take the time to track and see what's in the foods you eat, see what portion sizes look like, and get a good understanding of what things really truly look like, how can you be intuitive? It just turns into eat this, not that, which just goes into the unhealthy relationship with food and ends up being unsustainable. So you want to build the knowledge base first. So I think everyone should track for at least a few months. It'll probably be tedious at first, but you'll get better at it. And oftentimes you end up not minding doing long term, especially when you're seeing great results for your efforts. Because honestly, if you want to get the best results possible, knowing exactly how much you're eating and how to adjust when you hit plateaus and everything, nothing's going to work better than that. Number 7 is making sure you're getting enough sleep. You should be trying to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you're like, there's just no way, I can't possibly do that, get at least 6 hours. If you're not getting enough sleep, it can impact things like your hormones, your metabolism, how much muscle you lose in a fat loss phase. Every time you get frustrated and go way off plan, it's because you're tired. It's probably the most underrated part of a fit, healthy lifestyle. Speaking of underrated things, number 8 is about staying well hydrated. If you aren't hydrated well, your body's just not going to operate the way it should. I'm not sitting here and saying you have to go crazy and drink a gallon, 2 gallons a day. And I'm not even saying that you have to do it only through water. So instead of saying aim for exactly this much, everyone's different and has different water needs, but just make sure that you're not overly thirsty most of the time and that your urine is mostly clear. Number 9 is you're not going to be able to calorie deficit your way to the body you want. And I'm not saying you shouldn't go into a calorie deficit. A calorie deficit is the only way you can lose weight. If you don't think that's the case, you don't understand what calorie deficit means, which by the way, I do have a video that explains it. I'll put it in the description if you're confused by a calorie deficit. What I'm saying is you can't constantly be in a calorie deficit. The body's too adaptive. It's going to fight you too much. So while I'm all about sustainability, that means the lifestyle has to be sustainable, but your fat loss phases are temporary. And if you're constantly forcing a calorie deficit, running your body into the ground, eventually snapping and trying to come back again, it's just going to be a nightmare. It's not really what you do in your calorie deficit that makes the biggest difference. It's what you do before the calorie deficit that sets you up for the calorie deficit to go well. So you have to learn to be able to put in work without fat loss being the goal for long periods of time. And this is what's going to set you up to get the best results possible. And that brings me right into number 10. This is the most important thing. You can't keep stopping every time you get frustrated or every time you make a mistake and you say, screw it. There's no possible way you're going to get the results you want and especially sustain those results if you have that mentality. Now, like I just talked about, this doesn't mean you don't ever stop trying to lose fat, but it can't be, well, I'm not getting the results, or life is too busy right now, so I'm going to wait till I give 100%. You're never going to be in a position where you'll have a life where you can give 100% long term forever. So yes, sometimes you are going to have to back off, but that doesn't mean you go into the all or nothing mentality. It means you back off some. Instead of doing 4 or 5 workouts, maybe you're going to do 1 or 2 for a while. Maybe you're going to pay a little less attention to nutrition, but you're not just going to say screw it and bend your face off. So consistency doesn't mean perfect, but it does mean you keep putting in effort because you are going to have to live this lifestyle for the rest of your life. Now, before you leave, I want you to do this. There's this ugly truth to fat loss that nobody wants to hear, but everyone needs to hear. So to find out what that is, make sure you check out this video next. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in that other video.